Okay. Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. This is Zero here with,
Dedicate.
and for the first time ever, I guess, introducing a new podcaster, Grid. So, yeah, today we're talking about episode 22 of Kamen Rider Zi-O. Um, yeah, pretty solid episode. Really good second episode for a two-parter. Your guys' general thoughts.
Yeah, I would just agree overall. It feels like the series is getting more consistent. It's not, I mean, some of the characters are still growing, but overall it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I'd agree that the show is actually starting to pick up steam a bit. I'm hoping it stays consistent like that. No, no, I don't think they showed up at all. We got a Uru last episode, but he didn't show up this time. I'm hoping that becomes like a running gag throughout the show. I mean, we sort of got it before with like the two Sogos, and was seeing like scene two.
I think we can rule out that he's not the one in Soko's dream that told him to become the Demon King or whatever. Or he's
Yeah.
really doing a good job of playing dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking they're not going to do that because that's basically the twist from Decade. So it's like, it's unlikely that we're going to play that. Also, for the listeners, unfortunately, I had my mic muted for OBS. So what I said is like, um, yeah, solid episode. Also, it's we're gonna start with like the least interesting characters or least important, going to the most important. Time jackers aren't in this, so we're skipping them over. We started off talking about the uncle and saying that like um some hyper levels of denial going on with him, just like thinking, oh, you kids aren't phased. I guess that's what they're into nowadays. When Soko showed up, that's basically what I said. Anyway, moving right along. Um, right. I guess we can go with like, this is weird because it's really tightly packed episode. So like basically almost nobody's unnecessary in this because they're all interesting. So I guess we'll go to the Wazes because we might be able to talk a bit about them. Um so yeah, Black Waz finally makes his counterplay, thinking that like um basically Omazio will become Omazio finally. White Waz is telling Gates to get his shit together pretty much. Or more like he played his hand and Gates is like, I don't trust this asshole. Like somebody who would just kill innocents is not like a person I would support. But White Waz still, tries to make the future happen his own way. which is weird because like Black Waz definitely does not interfere in fights, whereas White Waz does. Your thoughts on the two Wazes this episode?
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said about, Black and White was. But I do recall like Black Waz do interfering in a fight earlier was when they first introduced White Waz, White Waz.
Yes, I mean,
But that wasn't
yeah, fair enough.
really a fight. That wasn't really a fight. Maybe he doesn't. Okay, he interferes with fights, but doesn't actually fight. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's more like Black Waz is straight up a support character, whereas like White Waz is basically like how should I think of it? Like Black Waz is a support NPC, White Waz is a party member. I guess that's the
Yeah.
best way to put it.
Yeah, that makes sense. But man, Black Loss is just really great in this episode. First of all, he's finally has his confidence back, which is awesome. Uh, but then just that whole little exchange when Zi-O 2 is born was just great. I'm glad that Soko is somewhat embracing Black Waz now, but of course that's gonna cause problems too.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Honestly, like I love how excited they both were. Whereas like Black Waz is doing his bit and he's trying to be all serious, and so he was like, "Oh, it's been a while." I was like, "Oh, it's cute. He's growing on you." Um, but yeah, they were really interesting. I still feel like at the end, the writer who should not exist, who showed up with three, what are they called, like watches or whatever. Um,
Right watch?
yeah, like the gimmick of this season. I don't care. Like
The
I could
ride
not.
watch? You're trying to say
Yeah,
it's that?
yeah, the right watches. Like I could not care less about collecting these things, so I don't even know their names at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
the ride watches and your ride watches.
yeah, like I'm thinking it's most likely gonna end up being White Waz, who is the like writer who should not exist. I mean, unless it somehow weirdly turns back around and um is like Gates and Gates revived or something. It's highly unlikely, but it'll be interesting. Right. So I guess. Oh, any thoughts? Anything else? No.
Nothing you haven't said already.
Nope.
Okay. Cool. I was just gonna say. Right. Like moving right along. I wonder if we should. Let's do the fights now, and then we'll move on to like Gates and Tsukiyomi after that. The fights in this episode were actually pretty solid. Like I love like the weird touches that they put. Like I love how whenever like Mirror Zi-O like does his rider kick, the like letters wrap around you and then fly back onto his leg, and then he rider kicks you. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Like that Sogo's finisher.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Also, I think this is the first time Gates used his own finisher since episode 2.
Right? I know a rider kick in a rider show. That's not necessary. um, yeah, that fight was good. Like, freaking mirror. I mean, another Ryuga versus like White Waz was pretty good. Uh, White Waz was fucking trying to, because he's like,
He tried.
yeah,
He almost got it, but he didn't.
he almost did get it. Like, it would have been so interesting if he did, but I'm like, he'd be too OP at that point, because like if he could beat something with an ability that perfect, like he'd basically be unstoppable. Because here's the thing: like Sogo and Gates win fights, but they're not really super good at fighting. Whereas White Waz always wins his fights. So it's like if he actually won something like this, I'm like, you guys have no chance. Um, but yeah, any other thoughts on the fights?
I like the fight with the introduction of Geo2.
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about that one next. But for the first fight, yeah, once again, it was nice seeing White was get his butt kicked because he's been so OP.
Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily we don't have anybody in chat, so I don't have to worry too much about that. But I was actually hoping you guys would go a little longer so I could check the audio, but fuck it, it's fine. Um, it's fine. We'll do it live. I mean, actually, we always do it live, but um, right. Anyway, interesting fights. The most interesting thing in the last couple of episodes is like, honestly, like how much like Gates and Tsukiyomi have come back into the plot, whereas like they kind of just used to like exist for a while, and then like I guess the last couple episodes they realized, oh no, these are like the second and third most important characters in the show. Let's actually give them character. Um, and so like Tsukiyomi gets more shit to do. Gates actually feels like a secondary writer now. Like the most interesting thing was like the ending where like Tsukiyomi is the one who's like, oh shit, like we might actually have to do something now because like Sogo might actually turn into Omazio, whereas Gates is more like, well, it's just he just accepted like both sides of his personality. I mean, which is a really interesting lesson too, but we'll get to that when we get to Sogo. Um, but yeah, it's interesting that Tsukiyomi is becoming more hardline and like Gates is becoming more neutral. So that's an interesting reversal. Thoughts on these two?
Yeah, I do agree with the. I do. Did legit enjoy the direction they are taking Suki and Gates.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate rewatching it because it kind of like it finally feels like Tsukiyomi's like grown into her role as kind of the mediator between the two writers, and then bam, in the ending, she's kind of forced to pick a side again. So
I'm just
we'll see.
hoping they stay consistent with that throughout future episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, rejoice, because we have audio. Unlike last time, where we just had to redo the whole damn thing again. Um, so that's good. Right. Yeah, they're becoming really interesting. To be honest, like because we're only like a third of the way through, like they can become really interesting. I mean, like because they haven't been getting as much development, therefore like they actually have room to grow, or at least to like maybe the mid-season finale, which that's good enough. Um, I like it's gonna be interesting to see them grow. Like, I wonder if Tsukiyomi is gonna become a writer, but I'm like, there's so many goddamn writer suits showing up. It's unlikely,
I guess if they
but
would do a Tsukiyomi writer, I think it would be like a movie exclusive,
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like it's most likely,
like Kivala.
yeah. Was Kivala a movie exclusive?
Yeah, she was in like
Oh,
the double the movie
yeah.
of
I
Double in
kept
Decade.
like I know she's in the like I know the suit exists. I just didn't remember if she was movie exclusive.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, that sucks. But I was actually thinking more of like the wizard movie with fuck, I remember Koyomi. There you go, Koyomi as like the
Okay,
white
Yo-Yo.
wizard,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
white
yeah.
wizard suit. But like Kivala makes way more sense, to be honest.
Or
Um,
not a
eh,
Shido.
yes. The I mean the fan art already exists because like everybody gets a Waz. So people are like, "Oh, I wonder what Tsukiyomi's Waz is gonna be like." So there's like two main ones right now I've seen. It's like even more high tech or super high contrast Waz. So because Tsukiyomi's so mellow and shit, like her Waz is gonna be just the most warmongering one of them all, just to contrast. I thought that was pretty funny. And then there's another one who's like super mellow was, but he's like insanely even more high tech than like White was. So I guess Wazes are just like pearls now from Steven Universe at this point. Um, it's I'm fine with that. Um, right, moving right along. Shit. I guess we'll leave Soga for last. So let's do the Ryuki characters. Yeah, good to see them back. They did a really good job. I mean, these two are like Ryuki has so many good actors, but these two are probably like one of my best from Ryuki and other shows too. Yeah, go ahead. Your
I was
guys'
kind of
thoughts on
hoping
them?
for Ren to return because he did state that he did want to come back for Geo, but I'm guessing they couldn't write in his character.
It would have been funny watching him meet Mini Ren.
Oh my god, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, how are you gonna write plot? I think the problem would be like then Gates is like, what do you do with Gates, right? Like there's two plot lines. There's you do nothing, and Better Gates is just standing right there, invalidating Gates's existence, or you have him kick Gates's ass, in which case you literally do the plot line from freaking the Gaim episode, right? Where like Kaito basically kicks Gates's ass and says like, "Get your shit together," right? And so I'm like, oh
So
no,
basically,
like
treading old ground.
yeah, it's problematic because it's like having Ren would be perfect, but like Gates literally is just Ren light in this show. So it's like, oh shit, if we actually put the original, like, I hope he shows up in the movie. It's unlikely, but it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think we would have known that if he did show up in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it
I
could
also
just
heard
be.
they were doing like a net special with all like a bunch of returning Ryuki actors, but
Oh,
I don't know if
fuck.
that's true or not.
That would be so good. Um,
Yeah,
it might be because, like, it's. I was gonna say 20th year, but that's not true because, like, it might be like Kuga's 20th year.
yeah, but I doubt they'd do something for Kuga because they can't bring back the actor.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole movie's plot seems to be kind of Kuga focused, but yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
suck because we
it's
don't
still
actually
Kuga
have.
without Kuga.
It's true. Even decades, half-assed Kuga is nowhere near good enough. I mean, like, he was okay for that one episode he was in, but making him a returning character just did not work. Um, right. As for Ryuki, yeah, like these guys did a really good job. Fuck, I wish we had something where we could just see them back. Like do just fucking like V cinemas or movie specials where it's just like, okay, writers, they just randomly team up. Because that's the thing with writers. I mean, I know it's weird with
Like
Ryuki because like tech.
like the Super Sentai Strongest Battle thing, where you
I
meet a bunch of writers each episode or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't seen those. I was thinking more like the old writer movies and stuff used to just be like, okay, two writers are in one place. They're just going to fight a monster. So like it would be interesting to see just the old guys come up because that way it's like, oh yeah, this writer and this writer from this random show just happened to react whenever a monster attacked, right? Like there's no real reason to it. It's just they just happen to be in the area.
Yeah,
because we have
yeah,
so many of them. Like it'd be
yeah.
perfect if we just had like a running series.
And who knows, like
Then
maybe they
whoever
might
wants to return can just show up and do their thing. I
yeah,
mean,
maybe they
it's
might get like
yeah.
I don't know, Nago or
Oh my god, Nago would be amazing, but like he already came back for that guy movie.
yeah, yeah, but he can, I'm sure he can come back if he wanted to.
Yeah. Um I mean, fuck, give the Blade guys another movie. Like they're hanging
Right.
out. Um
I know they can't bring back Gills because he's retired. I'm just
oh
wondering what
real.
else they could bring back. Yeah, he retired.
Oh, that sucks. I
Recently.
mean, okay, that's rough. I mean, to be fair, his suit got wrecked also.
Well, they
So,
could have. Oh, they could have just like remade it.
yeah,
It's
you
been a
say
while,
that
but they could
except
have.
like
They had
Gills.
plenty of time to remake it.
You say that, but this is Toei we're talking about. Like, they
Uh
could have
huh.
built the Gill suits, but we just use Gills Exceed all the fucking time because that's the suit that survived. Um, right? Like you're talking about the damn company that oh shit, we got paint on Rider Two's helmet. Oh fuck, we're not gonna make another helmet. Just write a reason. Oh, it's a power up. That's why it's black now. Oh, why freaking V3 suit got wrecked? It's fine. Give him a lighter, even more ridiculously bright jumpsuit. It'll work. Nobody'll notice. That suit's been there for like decades. Like Toei are cheap bastards. They will not fix up anything.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah. Um but it would have been really cool to see him back. I mean, it might be like a scheduling issue also because like, he has a kid now, so he probably doesn't have as much time as we think he would.
Mhm.
I mean Ren.
Ren, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll bring him back. I'm hoping they bring back who is Tiger.
Oh, from Ryuki or from
Ryuki, Kamen Rider Tiger.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. I mean, it's weird because like that's one of the characters I don't want to see come back because he's like you got the perfect end. Like if he comes back as a villain. I'm like, oh, I don't want that because like at least in the end he died being a hero, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, it'll turn into a Shadow Moon situation where it's like this guy died kind of as a hero. Now we just bring him back as the villain over and over again.
And plus, because
Um,
the actor's always available.
yeah. Anyway, we're getting way too sidetracked.
Uh-huh.
But right. Yeah. Anyway, Shinji in this episode. Oh man, that was freaking great. I mean, it's weird. It's one of those weird things because like writers had so many like, oh, this monster has this gimmick, or I mean, this show where it's like his thing of like, oh, in my heart, I had this like, slight hatred towards the fan. It was ridiculous, or to our readers, and but my mirror image, like totally blew that out of proportions, targeting them.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, it's because I didn't accept that. I'm like, okay, um, it's weird for a Ryuki plot because like it could fit in some of the other writer shows, but I'm like, that's only because we've seen so much writer that you could literally put any plot into a different show at this point. Um, Whereas like if that hadn't happened, I'm like, yeah, I could see it in Ryuki. That being said, like again, Shinji, amazing acting. Um, Really interesting points that he set up, which led to like Sogo's development. Like, what did you think of like his character arc this episode?
Uh, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was like a nice depiction of who he was back in the original show.
Yeah, because he was always
And
positive moving forward.
yeah,
So
he was like, and he wasn't like really positive at all. He was like very dour, like a like it was he like as if he really did grow up into a like old depressing man. Not really old and depressing, but
Yeah, I see what you mean though, and it was nice watching him able to grow, even though he isn't a writer, and then that affecting Sogo was just pretty cool.
yeah, I don't think they were very clear on that.
Oh shit! I had the OBS muted. Anyway, sorry. So I'm just gonna have to repeat. God damn it, man! I have to stop playing with these damn buttons. Um, right. So yeah, for this story arc, Shinji character arc worked. It like from the first episode, it seemed like he was just a normal reporter who got attacked by mirror monsters and then became this weirdo recluse dude. But in this episode, it's a little weird because it seems like he has his memories of being a writer or stuff. So it's a little inconsistent, but otherwise, like, really good character. Anyway, go ahead. What were you guys saying?
Yeah, but if say if he is Shinji with all his memories of being a writer, would would he wouldn't he if he was a writer, wouldn't he be dead if we were say we were going by like the ending of the original show? Because I mean, if he, eh,
I mean, like, the original ending of Ryuki is,
yeah, of the show, like in the show,
well, he's alive
coming
at the
back.
end of Ryuki.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, he did come back. The end.
Spoilers for, like, almost a 20-year-old show at this point. um, yeah, reset. But uh like, it here's the weird part. Like, Ryuki being alive, perfectly fine. Faiz being alive, a hell of a lot more questionable, even though Faiz has gotten like 3 different damn movies at this point.
And
Ex-
Kaiser being alive, even though he's like came back like twice before.
oh, hmm.
Did he? Because I remember him coming back like more than once.
Yeah, that's in like Rider 4. Okay, that's a weird plot twist because it's like they're like merging 2 different characters there, and like Kaiser's being a complete asshole. Like,
And
here's the
even though
weird
they
thing.
technically
In
shouldn't know
in
each other.
Yeah, they shouldn't know each other. Like, the Zi-O episode, it kind of made sense, sort of, where it's like, okay, yeah, the timeline reset. They are no Orphanox. Um, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it's weird that they shouldn't know each other, but I'm like, I can see like Sukasa. I mean, not Sukasa. Kusaka and like Mari and freaking Takumi ending up in a situation where they know each other. But like, again, Zi-O has this bad habit of like, it wants to do its own thing, but then it, for its plot reasons, it just pretends like the shows exist, and then for other plot reasons it pretends they don't exist. It's like, it would have just been easier if you just went with the shows exist, you know. I guess
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't give the bittersweet thing of like, oh no, we're stealing writers, I mean, we're stealing other writers powers. But I'm like, the show only brings that up every like once in a while, so it almost loses like any impact. You know, it's weird. It's just like the show wants to have his cake and eat it too, and it's like, I get it, you're
Yeah,
doing it for plot reasons, but it's like it's bad plot reasons.
yeah, and they already admitted that they don't know what they're doing.
I mean, I was gonna defend the show, or I did for the longest time. Like, this is a good episode, but I'm like, it's a good episode because like you're holding back all the plot, you know. Um, like
And that's what I think they should do for the show going on. Hold back.
no, I mean like they were holding up all the good shit because when they were doing the anniversary stuff, it's like, okay, who cares what the damn actual plot of this show is? We're just gonna do an anniversary episode,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
those were really annoying episodes. But these are a lot better because they're actually focused on Zi-O. Um, yeah, I mean, it seems like the anniversary stuff's done, so the show seems to be improving. Um, like
Well, who
since
knows?
White
Maybe
Waz
they'll
has
bring
shown
back
up, the
something
show's
else.
definitely gone up. We'll see how
Uh,
long that lasts, considering it just got a power up. Anyway, speaking of that power up, originally I really didn't like the suit from the previews, but seeing it in action, it's actually not that bad. Uh, I'm kind of surprised that it's not like anything close to looking like Amazio, but I'm guessing Amazio is like final form then.
well,
Your
we already know
thoughts?
what his final form is now, and it doesn't really look much like Omagio.
Okay, well I haven't seen it, but I guess that also makes sense.
Oh, well,
'Cause-
spoilers. They already showed his final form scans,
Yeah.
and it looks ridiculous.
I'm like, why am I even supposed to be surprised at this point? Because like all final forms look ridiculous
No, but
at
this
this.
is like actual ridiculous.
Oh
Okay, here's
god.
combine Gokai Silver Gold mode with Decade Complete form.
Oh fuck. God damn it, man! Like, give the decade motif a rest. It was like the worst motif in Rider. Right? Like, Decade's best form is his base form, and that's not even super good. It's just passable,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's
Yeah,
just Tsukasa's.
like Decade armor looks better than Decade's complete form.
Oh god. Yeah, it's true. It's weird. I mean, the problem is like Decade kind of only works because of the personality inside that rider form, because otherwise it's not that interesting. Especially any of its powered up forms. Like, it it does not look good. But lately Toei has just been like, okay, we'll just pile on the gimmicks. And I'm like, fucking, this is the last Heisei show. Could you just give us like a nice final form, like the black and gold? I'm like, oh, okay, we're tying back to Kuga with like the final form you don't want but you need, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna do that nice Amazio suit. I mean, it looks a little over the top, but I'm like, it's a nice tie back to Kuga. But like, if that's not what's happening, it's like, what are you even doing, show? um
You should see the ride watch for Geo's final form. It's equally ridiculous.
well, like all the gimmicks of this damn show are ridiculous at this point. Like,
Yeah, but the final form one is like the final form gimmick in every rider show is takes it to the extreme.
yeah,
I think
it's
that's like I think that's like the formula. Just take what's already established to the extreme.
I know. The worst part is like usually what happens is like the second last form is really really nice and the last form is hideous. Yeah, like we had a run in the middle a couple of years ago where like the mid-season forms were super nice and then the final forms were absolute ass. And then like the final forms are like the only things you're most likely to see come back as power-ups. I'm like, oh no, these are hideous. um like Coast is the worst because he has this really nice like black and gold form, And then he has that stupid
Oh
white
yeah, the
sparkling unicorn shit, and I'm like, oh, it's
yeah.
awful. Like, why do we need this one?
I don't even know what it's again supposed to be.
I don't know. It's supposed to be like infinite potential,
Oh well,
but I'm
that's
like, okay, the real
I don't.
reason what it's supposed to be is sunglasses.
Oh, like the sunglass slasher.
Yeah, yeah. Except like they put an infinity, like
Yeah, yeah.
Mobius loop thing
On its side.
just to tie it into the sunglass thing. I'm like, you guys, like, just for this stupid gimmick, like, you had to make this ugly ass form. Um. Anyway, uh, decade thoughts on this form? I mean, I guess you did give a little bit, but any more?
Um, it looks decent. Really, I thought the fight was actually pretty good. I mean, he just like runs in and starts beating the crap out of another Ryuga, and that's kind of what I've missed about early Heisei is just getting those gritty hand-to-hand fights. I
And
mean,
I love the
of
Psycho
course, he pulls out
grade
the
as
sword.
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was the sword I can live with. Um, I guess now we know why they've been playing that weird like Middle Eastern kind of instrumental music because his sword
Because
makes those sort of
yeah, that's sort of
noises.
been like the music aesthetic of the whole show. Is just like weird Egyptian music.
Yeah, but I guess now it makes sense a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
that's about it.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to do the whole like sands of time thing, but I'm like, they're not really playing it up. But whatever. I mean, at least it has some kind of sound identity. Um, that being said, like, yeah, that fight was pretty decent. I actually really like the interaction with like Mirror Sogo, and I guess we can get into it now. Like, next character Sogo, like his interactions in this episode were great because like Mirror Sogo like fucking straight up calls him out. It's like, you're full of shit. Like all this heroic bullshit you keep saying, but like, what are you actually doing? You're just gaining more and more power. Like, like, you're no real hero. Like, who the fuck have you even saved? Like, basically he's saying like, fucking act like a writer if you want to be a hero, because all you've been doing is, oh, I want to be king shit. And it's like, yeah, you're just gonna end up in fucking being a Mazio, and all you're doing is just acting in denial, right? And like, just straight up calls him out on it. And then like Sogo fucking finally matures. I mean, like, he did in that episode with Amazio, and then he had that episode with like him and Black Waz. They're like, okay, we had to counterattack. We can only trust each other. And like, I think this is the third episode where you finally see him change, where it's like, yeah, no, right? Like, I'm not exactly the good guy, but I have to accept that and change. So that was interesting. What did you think of him and his character arc and like Mirror Soga and all that this episode?
I really especially liked like how he Mirror Sogo said, "Yeah, I I'm gonna like I have like the best and worst qualities of myself. I'm gonna use them to like," and they're like, "Oh, it's true and whatever."
Yeah, I really liked just the fact that he wasn't just some evil jerk like another, or I guess Ryuga, because like in the end you can see even he's kind of scared about what the future might hold. So I think just in general the way this form was earned felt pretty good. It wasn't just a present from Decade or something cheesy like that, or they built the form out of nothing. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, say what you will about like writer forms and stuff, but I mean, even how this thing looks, the the one thing Ryder at least tries to be consistent is like, okay, if it's like mid season or like basically if it's an important power up, you actually have to give it really good emotional storytelling, and like this show did that, um, especially for a main writer um, form. It's important to have that, and like having it be like one of the better episodes of the show is just you know like a bonus. The thing is like that thing is pretty busted power wise, um, but like as you
Well,
guys
that's
have said,
usually
it's
how like mid-season final. It's
yeah,
the strongest until they introduce like other forms and other stuff later on, and it looks
right.
very
I mean,
inferior to what comes next.
yeah, like this introduces like two writer problems. Like one, hey, cool form, good story, kind of busted. Oh, guess what? Next episode, it might be fucking useless. I mean, it might not be, but like, Jesus, build. Holy shit, that happened a lot. But uh, it might just be because next episode's another Future Rider episode, and it seems like it's like a Kiter tribute or something.
Yeah, sort of. It's the actor who played him is also the actor who played the reboot Kakaider, but he's dressed as the classic Kakaider.
Oh, cool. Um, I mean, I'm all for doing that because this way it like we get like the three aspects of writer, right? Which is like magic writer, weird time travel sci-fi
Yeah,
ish writer, and then
sci-fi
like
writer,
cyborg writer. Exactly.
cyber robo writer. No, not robo.
Yeah, perfect. Right? Like we get all three writer types for the most
And
part.
we're also getting another writer who's like space themed later on. Was Kamen Rider Ginga.
Oh, cool.
He's supposed to
You
be
mean Ultraman?
Waz's final. No, no, no. He's supposed to be Waz's final form.
Oh, okay. No, I thought like okay, whatever, name wise, but yeah, you're right. There's literally like four or five rider. I mean, like the only one left is like we get a monster rider, but I'm like, it's unlikely in this show because like they're just
It's disappointing.
literally
I
fighting.
really
Like
enjoyed the
their whole
monster.
gimmick is they're fighting monster riders. So like it's unlikely we're gonna get like a Gills or like Kiva or something happening.
No, because I really want
But
to see Kiva.
yeah, man,
Kiva would
it
have
would be.
a Kiva tribute would have been cool.
I would have been so good. Hell, man, Kiva even has a future writer, right?
Yeah, they
Like,
could have used Masao.
especially considering his actor was in the last show.
Yeah, they could have like gone back to 1986.
No, no, no. I was gonna say no, like Watru's kid, new
Yeah,
Kiva,
Masao.
who looks
Masao.
like who looks
He's played
exactly
by he's played by
yeah the person who
Toya
plays Otoya and
Kazumi.
Grease. Yeah, that would have been great. But then again, like
Yeah.
it seems like the reason they're wiping the continuity shit um uh, away is because like they don't want to deal with the continuity, which is really annoying because I would have really loved to see the future writers come back. But like, fuck it. At least make a V cinema with the future writers, man. That's all I need.
Well, they are
Uh,
doing like a spin-off episode of Kamen Rider Shinobi.
no, 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 not the future writers from this show. I mean, like the
Oh,
future writers, like the kids, and like the one-off writers who've been in movies like Aqua, and New Kiva and New Deno, like
well, New Kiva was
Future
I
Drive, stuff like that.
well, New Deno can like burn in the pit, but
Why you hate him that much?
yeah, I don't like New Deno. He's just like a fancy suit with no personality.
I don't know. Like I don't know that much about Deno, but I'm like, his suit looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really all he is, a cool suit. But New Kiva, I think if they could do something, what they would have done it already. If they had a chance to do another like movie,
Yeah, I think especially with like it seems like Deno would be in the movie. It's unlikely they're gonna put new Kiva in now because like they're not gonna do two tributes. Um, that's just not how a writer works. Um, anyway, shit. Did we talk about everyone?
Yeah, I think we got everyone.
Yeah. So, I guess just any other thoughts this episode? Um,
I'm hoping they can top it in the next episode and going forward.
I really hope so because like I want to see like I hope that like a Kiter thing is helpful because I'm like Toei desperately fucking needs a third franchise. Like they are trying super
Yeah.
hard.
Well, he's technically not Kikaider, but
Well, no, I know, but like
he's
if
just a
that
tribute to Kikaider.
yeah, I know, but like we've been trying the space sheriff shit, and it's kind of working because but they it space sheriff seem to be a Sentai thing now. But I'm like,
Yeah,
I wish like
well,
Kiter would show up for Rider.
uh-huh.
That would be cool.
I mean, they kind of did it with Unazo Man with Forze.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did. Forza was it? Actually, didn't the writer for this also write Forza and Ninja? So
Oh yeah,
yeah, he has the
some
weirdest
of
like
us.
writing record because he wrote Forza and Ninja, right? So like totally weird. Um, freaking oh, what is that like the Sentai Rider movie?
What comic superhero Tyson?
No, I mean like it was like a spin-off, like a V Cinema. Where like the
Uh,
previous writers show up.
oh, like the you mean the one where they met the dead writers, the perk?
Yes, that one. He wrote that one.
Oh, Common Sentai Go Rider.
Yes, Go Rider. So it's weird that he has like this weird range where it's like it seems like he's not super good at plot, but like he's kind of good at character, but only when he wants to do character. Yeah, so I think that's what's showing through. Anyway, Decade thoughts.
Uh, yeah, just overall, I hope the series can stay consistent. I think most of us are starting to enjoy it, even though it does have flaws. So I'm interested to see where the plot goes. It's getting pretty interesting. And yeah, what is going to become of White Waz and how is Oma Day going to play out? We'll see.
Oh shit. Okay, like hopefully OBS wasn't muted there. God damn it. I'm like jumping between like multiple things. Ah, it's such a disorganized podcast. Normally it's not this much of a train wreck. Um fuck. Let me just check if we have no, we do not have any comments. God damn. Like if we actually had comments and I missed them, it'd just be the complete. Anyway. Anyway. Uh yeah. I'm super disorganized today. Um right. Uh, yeah, I guess we talked about the preview and this episode.
Oh,
We
I
did
didn't
all
see
the.
the preview for the next.
I mean, it's mostly just pseudo Kakaider ish robot
Uh,
dude.
Kamen
It's
Rider
see,
Kakai.
yeah, he seems cool. Um, I wonder, like, I would really hope they play up the robot aspect because, like, fuck, one of the coolest things in Drive was type technique where he would be
Uh,
like Robo Rider from RX, where it's like the movements were all stiff and everything. I'm like, oh, if they do that, that'd be so great because like it's
oh,
literally for 2 episodes, man. Like freaking do the full bit if we have to do it. Also, I wish that like all the future writers, like the Zi-O future writers, hopefully at least get like a V cinema or something. I know like Shinobi's getting one. Quiz is cool, man. Like I could watch a whole
yeah,
show with that guy.
Quid's Quiz needs his own like episode or something.
Yeah.
Then again, what would they like expand upon?
I don't know. He seems like a
His
like
relation,
he
like his
seems like
relationship with his father.
no, because like I just give him like okay, just do a standoff episode like you know when we have those well we shouldn't do a crossover episode. What I actually want is just do like one episode if it was from their show, like a standoff episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I wouldn't give like what give them their own intro.
well, that's too much work. I mean it's most likely I mean it is just for the app and the app is just like a 30-minute special just like Brave special was for the app. Um So I'm just thinking like give him just like because writer shows tend to have like at least one or two like standoff, just like okay, one and done episodes. Just make his special just one episode just set in his universe. Or like make it like, oh, you're just catching one episode of his show. Right? Because like I feel like he's basically like kind of a mix of like Double and Kabuto, where he's got kind of got like the arrogance of like or I mean like a little bit of the like cockiness and like skill of like Tendo from Kabuto, but he's got like the detective thing from not decade Double going for him. So like I would like to see uh an episode like that, like basically something like imagine like Kamen Rider Skull, an episode except with just quiz, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That would be cool.
Hoping they bring them back in the Zi-O movie. Like if they do like show all the like future writers teaming up.
Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, technically they're from an alternate universe, but I'm like, fuck it, who cares? Logic doesn't make sense in writer crossovers. Dude, could you imagine if we actually had like all the crossover? Actually, no, we're not doing Tyson's anymore, but like if we actually pulled all the writers out, like at this point, it'd be insane.
Oh
Um,
yes, they brought. It's probably impossible.
I mean, it pretty much is because like you literally have three sides now. You have, oh, this is the main writers. Here's the secondaries, which is probably the biggest group, um, or like the other writers, and then like on the other side, we now have a third of, oh, these are like the future or alternate writers. So like we have a fair number of those guys now.
So how many writers would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4,
How many
6, or
writers
7?
for
Yeah,
the
how many
future
writers?
ones?
No, including the future writers. I mean, there's 4. Oh, so that's 7. 7 total writers.
No, I mean like just do like a like a Kamen Rider Tyson or something. Just have them show up just in the final
Yeah.
battle or something. For the future writers, there's a couple. So there's like there's Future Nano, there's Aqua, there's Takeru's kid, Shinosuke's kid, Wataru's kid. So that's 5 of them. Who else is there? Like the freaking the new whoever's the new owner of Zabi, the new Hibiki, what else is there? Oh, the new Agito. You know, that's at least 8 of them, right? And like that's not including like this, like the G3 or 4 units. Sorry, what?
I mean,
Zernos? Yeah.
Able to,
Yes.
What? What about Zeranos?
Oh no, I thought you said like Zeranos. I'm like, yeah, technically he's a future writer. But he showed up. Oh man, it would be so cool to see them. Like, you know, there's like the.
All back.
I mean, here's the thing: we have like the Legendary 7, right? And then we have like basically the post-decade writers, or especially like the post-Gaim writers. We're all like buddy for the most part. Like we should have like a group of like future writers. Then again, like that would imply like the future cannot be fucked with. which technically should be true because we have so many riders with time powers. Like, this should not be possible. That's not even including all the Sentai teams we have for backup. But like, who cares? It happens every episode or every show every once in a while. But this show, yeah, really solid episode. Really good 2-part. To be honest, like, whenever like Tsukiyomi in this episode was all like, "Hey, you've inspired us and turned Gates good and all this other shit," I'm like, I'm not buying this. And then like Mirror Soga just shows up and is like, "Yeah, that's fucking nonsense. You're kind of an asshole." I'm like, oh, at least somebody fucking called him out on him. So yeah, that was really well done. It here's like, I have one problem with the show is like, it's good right now, but it's good because it's getting to Amazio or Omade basically. But like, I don't feel like Amazio is gonna be the final villain. So like, it might turn into one of those situations where you get like, oh no, last arc, surprise villain, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we don't actually have story for this. So like, the last third of the show is gonna be dragged out. Like, for God's sakes, let's not do that for a third year in a row. Because like, after Kronos and Evolt, like, I don't want another one of these. Yeah, that's all I got. Anything else, you guys?
I think Omagio is supposed to be like the Cronus or Evolto of this show.
I mean, at least he makes sense, but I feel like he's gonna get like ruled out by the mid-season, the way this show's going. Because like, they're building up like the White Wasp versus Black Wasp thing, so it's like, okay, either one of these two kills each other, which is unlikely, or we create a third future, in which case like, not Omazio and not like Gates revived happens. So it's like, what's gonna happen?
The question is, how are they gonna like, how are they gonna bring in Grangio into all that? Is he gonna be like from the alternate timeline or the main one?
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I feel like if it's a power up and we had to fight Amazio, and like Amazio's coming as like his last ditch attempt, it's gonna be mainline. If it's like, oh, Zi-O decides fuck both of these options, I'm gonna do my own thing, then it could just be future guy. In which case, then it becomes like two possibilities. Like, are you another Amazio, or are you a good guy? Because then it's like a weird time loop thing. Oh, unless like, that's the version of the character that went back in time and told Sogo to be a king, because we still don't know who the hell told him that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Any theories on this decade?
I heard one theory that it.
Oh, go ahead. Great.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad theory that it's an adult Gates.
Gates. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad theory. That I read on another server.
It's possible,
I doubt it.
but it's unlikely. I mean, it would be interesting. Yeah, the problem then becomes like, why did adult Gates even come back to the past? Because like, then it would be like, oh yeah, we were friends in the original timeline. Why? Because he's supposed to be from the future, right? Whereas like, if it's one of himself or his servants or something, like, it makes perfect sense where they would like try to ensure that future. Whereas like, adult Gates doesn't make sense because like, they would never meet if the future was fine. Right? Like, unless it's that weird theory that I have is like, okay, so Amazio has these weird robo machine things, and he says that he saved the Earth. Right? What was he fighting to save the Earth from?
Itself.
I know, but like, the mechs just show up, right? So like nobody's explained where the mechs come from or the drivers or something. So like I for the longest time I had this weird theory of like, oh, like Omazio is actually telling the truth. He did save the Earth from like a greater threat, and then he just became a dictator. And those
Well, I did
guys are gonna.
hear. I don't know if you heard this theory, but I heard this from another Toku podcast that the driver is Omagio, and it became sentient because they're played by the same guy. So that
That would be interesting. I mean, like the problem with that is like we've already had like multiple talking drivers, and there's no indication that like these drivers have anything special to them. Like they are so interchangeable that like literally Sogo's driver is Gates' driver right now. I don't think they swapped back at this point, right?
so that's the thing. That's what I said to them. Like, if that's the case, then what would happen to Gates' driver?
Right. So
Unless
I don't
there
know.
was like an Oma Gates.
That would be pretty interesting. Like the weirdest thing is like they have all this tech, but like nobody explains it. Nobody even tries to explain it. I get it because it's like, oh, we just stole this shit. But
I'm
I'm
sure
like,
it's there's like a big reveal to it. Like maybe someone made it.
yeah. I mean, like that's the only other thing I can think of is like, okay, the only other villain could be whoever made the drivers and the mechs. If not, then it's Omazio. Whatever. We'll see. I mean, the weird thing is like Omazio seems to have come back, and he came back with like a helper dude because last time I don't remember him having like that random shadowy figure in the background, but when he got revived, that person was there. I mean, it's most likely a different version of Waz or something.
Shane.
So we'll see what happens. Um. Yep, that's all I got. Anything, Duckhead?
No, I don't really think too much about fairies, and I've honestly been focused on Sentai, so definitely going to be paying more attention to this show, though, since Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger has finished.
Yes, I heard that ended. Honestly, like I
Oh
log
yeah.
back in, I'm like, oh, you guys are doing a pod. Literally, all of you fuckers are doing a podcast.
So good.
Like, yeah, like I think maybe was Drago even there? Probably not.
No,
Like,
no.
yeah, he's like the only one missing. I was like, holy shit! Like, the whole team is there. Anyway, yeah, that show ended. So how was it overall? I guess like if anybody's even listening.
Phenomenal.
Watch the podcast, yeah. It was awesome.
Oh, nice. Anyway, Grid, your thoughts if you want to give your thoughts on that Sentai because you weren't on that podcast.
Oh yes. So yeah, it was a really phenomenal ending. Like I think it made up for everything I didn't like about the show.
Such as, I mean, like, what did you
I mean, for
have
example,
shortcomings and it came?
I mean, in the like the big issue was like, oh, Lupin Ranger focus, but I don't want to. You've seen it, right?
Nope. I'm
Oh,
not that much of a Sentai person.
yeah, because there's. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
No, it's fine.
yeah. So basically, the Power Rangers are going to give the final blow to Togurino, which is surprising because I would have thought it was the Lupin Rangers who would be in the final battle, but no, it's the Pat Rangers.
I mean, it's the cops Sentai show, villain and defeating a crime lord. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the thieves.
Yeah, but the thieves have more of a personal vendetta against the Ganglers because they're the ones who took their friends and family.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's because Toei was focusing on like, okay, no, we can't make a show with thieves as the heroes. I know we did pirates, all right, but One Piece is big. We can get away with it. Um, but like they're like, no, we have to add the cops, right? So therefore,
Yeah.
like they could not have the cops not be in the final battle. That's my thoughts anyway, from an outside observer's point of view. Um, yeah, but I heard it's a pretty decent show. Um, I might
Yeah.
check it out sometime.
You should stick around for when Real Soldier starts, or even the Super Sentai Strongest battle.
Hmm. That. Oh yeah, they are doing that because they've decided to
actually-
hold up. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
they're
decided.
holding off on it, and they're like doing a whole tribute episode. Not really a tribute, but just like a whole anniversary. It's not even an anniversary. It's just like a whole like team up episode. And they're bringing
Y-
like like more than like a few people. Like I'm surprised the amount of actors they were able to bring back.
Well, that's the thing. Like Sentai's always kind of had like a lot more, especially since Gokaiger. Like a lot more actors willing to come back.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing is, like, I heard the real reason is mostly because, well, not for the actors coming back. That's just awesome that they did. It's because they've decided to hold off on airing the new Sentai because they want to wait until the next era takes hold for it to be aired. So they're waiting till like after April when the next emperor is sworn in. So the next era begins. Like Heisei will definitely be over when that happens. So they're just waiting for that to happen. Then the next Sentai will start. Which I'm like, whatever, man. Like, as long as you put out good content, I don't really care.
Plus, we get to see Keiichiro and Doggy Kruger. All good.
That's cool. Man, we've had so many cop characters now. It would be actually pretty cool to have them team up. But
Well, we sort of are. Just one member of each team.
yeah, I mean in Sentai they do, but like in Rider we have so many of them, but they never team up, except that one movie.
Well, yeah, that one movie. Well, we've never gotten. I don't think we've never gotten the main writer. I mean, we've gotten a writer who's a cop, who's a main writer, but never like a cop-themed main writer.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like, well, G3, but that's about
Yeah,
it.
he's not a main writer.
Yeah, he's not a main writer. Well, it's because like the whole thing of Rider is it's supposed to be kind of like a little bit anti-authority, a little bit like urban legend. So like Sentai is always supposed to be like we are the government sanctioned thing, most likely. Like we are the official thing. Like they're supposed to fight in the broad daylight, and whereas Rider is supposed to generally fight in the shadows.
I don't know about all Sentai fighting in the daylight. I mean,
well, I mean not all of them, but like
Sentais do exist.
yes, that's true. I think it's more like the general feel of Rider. It's like Sentai usually like dude, they're literally having like Megazord fights. There's no way to hide that. So like the general feel is oh shit, a giant monster attacked. Which team will handle it? Oh, it's insert Super Sentai here. Whereas like a Rider fight is like, hey yeah, some shady shit went down, but you're most likely never gonna hear about it. I was like, oh, that building exploded. Like, why did it happen? I don't know. I heard some weirdo asshole in a costume was fighting some other weirdo asshole in a costume, or so it looked like until the building exploded. And that's sort of like the general feel of Rider. Like it, I guess it kind of goes back to like Showa Rider versus Showa Sentai feeling, where it's like the old writers used to be more like, hey, yeah, stuff's happening, but like the cops aren't gonna step in to help. Whereas Sentai is like, well, are you blind? How did you not see this? You know, like unless you're freaking Melon Lord yelling in that one movie, like how did you miss that Megazord? Anyway, like super rambly. Yeah. that's the end of this, I guess. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep, thanks for listening.